So, March 28th, 2026, a day where three huge but totally different sounding stories hit the news. And today, we're going to connect the dots for you.
Think about it. A crisis over in West Asia, the stock market going into a nosedive, and, believe it or not, an AI shaking up the world of cricket. Now, on the surface, that sounds like a random mess, right? But stick with me, because all of these threads actually weave together to tell one big story. A story about how India is dealing with a very, very complicated world right now.
Okay, so let's start at the epicenter, the main event. We're talking about the escalating crisis in West Asia. This isn't just a distant problem, it's sending massive shockwaves across the entire globe. And yeah, they're being felt right here at home. You know, you can think of it like this. The conflict is basically creating a massive traffic jam in the world's most important shipping lanes. We're talking critical trade routes. The supply chains we all depend on, they're all under huge strain. This puts everything at risk, from the stuff you buy in stores to our energy security. And it's definitely put a country like India on high alert.
And here's the official word straight from the top. Prime Minister Modi said this during a major crisis meeting. The message couldn't be clearer. This is serious, and the country has to be ready for whatever happens next.
So what's the game plan? Well, India is actually dusting off a playbook that we've seen before, the Team India strategy. Remember during the COVID-19 pandemic about 6 years back? This is the same idea. It's all about getting the central government and every single state to work together, hand in hand, to tackle a national crisis. It was absolutely essential back then, and it's being brought back now.
So, when the top leaders got together, what was on the table? Well, the agenda was laser-focused. Priority number one, shield the country from all the fallout. That means protecting our supply chains, making sure we have enough fuel, keeping the economy stable, and, above all, looking out for the interests of every citizen.
Okay, let's pivot now and look at how this global crisis didn't stay global for long. It hit home, fast, and triggered a massive shockwave right through the Indian economy.
Yeah, that number, that's the one that sent a shiver down the spine of every investor. We're talking about the BSE Sensex, which, is a big deal. It tracks 30 of India's largest companies, and it just dropped over 1,690 points in one day. It was basically a giant flashing red light, signaling some serious anxiety in the markets.
And it didn't stop with the stock market. The shockwave hit our currency too. The Indian rupee fell to a new record low, 94.82 against the US dollar. Now, why does that matter to you? Well, it puts a ton of pressure on the economy. It means things we import, like oil, get more expensive. Even things like studying abroad suddenly cost a lot more.
So, you might be asking, what exactly caused this freefall? Well, it wasn't just one thing. It was basically a perfect storm. You had crude oil prices shooting up to over $109 a barrel. You had the geopolitical mess in West Asia spooking everyone. You had foreign investors pulling their money out. And on top of all that, the US dollar was getting stronger. All these things hit at once, creating this huge downward pressure on our market.
So, with the markets taking such a beating, the big question on everyone's lips was, okay, what's the government going to do about this? And the answer came pretty quick, and it was aimed right at the heart of the problem, the energy crisis.
Here's what they did. A huge cut to the special additional excise duty on fuel. For petrol, they slashed it by 10 rupees a liter. And for diesel, they cut it all the way down to zero. A pretty dramatic move. But, and this is a really important point, this tax cut wasn't meant to make gas cheaper for you and me at the pump right away. Nope. This was a strategic move. It's basically a financial cushion for the state-owned oil companies to absorb their losses. Think of it as a fire break, They're trying to stop these massive companies from getting into financial trouble, because if that happened, it could cause a domino effect across the whole energy sector.
But the government's response wasn't just about putting out immediate economic fires. At the same time, India is making some really big long-term strategic moves on two other critical fronts, defense and diplomacy.
So right in the middle of all this global uncertainty, India's Defense Acquisition Council gave the green light to a massive $25 billion spending package. That's a huge number, and it sends a really clear signal that the country is serious about modernizing its military and being prepared for anything in this, let's face it, pretty volatile world.
And what does that $25 billion actually buy? Well, take a look. We're talking 5 new S-400 air defense systems. And these are seriously top of the line, some of the best in the world. On top of that, advanced strike drones, new transport aircraft, artillery systems, and even armor-piercing tank ammo. It's not just one thing, it's a complete top-to-bottom upgrade of the country's ability to defend itself.
But of course, national strength isn't just about hardware. At the very same time India is beefing up its military, it's also putting a lot of energy into diplomacy, basically rebuilding and strengthening some really important international relationships.
And this joint statement from India and Canada really says it all. The relationship between the two countries has been a bit strained lately, so this statement is a big deal. It signals a clear desire to hit the reset button to get back to a stable partnership that's built on mutual respect.
And the plan they've laid out, this new roadmap, is pretty ambitious. They're focused on getting a big trade deal done, but also on working together in some really cutting-edge areas, things like critical minerals, and maybe most importantly for our story, artificial intelligence.
And that mention of AI brings us to the final and honestly maybe the most surprising piece of our puzzle today. Because while all this crisis management is happening, the country is also making these incredible leaps forward in a totally different field, the place where technology and sports collide.
It's a really stark contrast, isn't it? While the headlines are all about dealing with crises, innovation is still steaming ahead. And one of the coolest examples of this is happening, of all places, in the world of cricket. So get this, the BCCI and Google just announced a huge partnership for the 2026 IPL season. They're building a new AI mode powered by Gemini right into Google Search. What does that mean? It means during a live match, you can just ask your phone questions, like real conversational questions, and get instant, in-depth analysis. We're talking way beyond just checking the score.
And according to the BCCI secretary, this isn't just a small tweak. He's calling it a fundamental transformation of the fan experience. The whole idea is to make watching a match more interactive, more insightful, and to really deepen that connection fans have with the game they love.
And that's where we come full circle. From dealing with a crisis in West Asia and a shaky economy, to upgrading the military and revolutionizing sports with AI. When you put it all together, you get this fascinating picture of a nation juggling a whole lot of complexity. And it leaves you with a pretty big question to think about, doesn't it? Maybe the real strength of a country isn't just its ability to get through a storm, but its ability to build the ship for the future, right in the middle of it.